What's up, everybody? Tsunami Mats here, and today I have an updated Zefra and Endymion deck profile for you guys. So I got Plat 1 a couple days ago on Season 3, and this is the deck that I brought to Plat 1. I really didn't add that many new cards in. I just added a couple of removal cards since this deck doesn't really have backer removal. So the new cards I added into this deck, Zefra War. Basically, if you control 2 Zefra cards in your Pendulum Scale, you can activate it from hand, but that's not really the important thing. So against like Order and Skill Drain, this card is really clutch, especially against Skill Drain. So you can activate Zefra Providence and get rid of, like, search it, and then pop their Skill Drain. And I've seen people run, so I also added the DDD engine in. So basically it just runs Savant Kepler, which searches Dark Contract, which searches DD Lamia, which can special itself by sending Dark Contract to the graveyard. So I've seen people run Orthos, which is a Pendulum Scale that pops a card as well, pops a spell card. I just didn't think that was as good and as relevant because a lot of the times they can flip Skill Drain when you have established scales already. So I think Zefra War is just better even though it's a trap. It's also just like more searchable because you can only get Orthos off of Dark Contract. And you can search Zefra War through Providence and through Nui. So you have a bunch of ways of searching. So yeah, let's get into the actual deck profile. So for the hand trap lineup, I'm running Gamma, which has a double use as a Call by the Grave, since every single card in your deck activates as a spell card basically, unless you're normal summoning something. But if you're activating Servant, Spell Power Mastery, Providence, Oracle of Zefra, Zefrath, and they have to max CU when you set 2 scales. So your Gamma is just insanely powerful. If you set 2 scales and they max CU, then you just Gamma them, and then you have a free Needle Fighter. So it's basically like a 1-card Needle Fighter. So if Gamma resolves on your turn, you're probably going to win. You're almost certainly going to win. So that's why I'm running it, and it doubles as a power hand trap. And then 3 Max C, 3 Ash Blossom, so 8 hand traps total. It sucks that you sometimes can draw the driver, but I think Gamma being so powerful in this deck warrants it, even though it's a 2. For the Zefra lineup, I'm running only 2 Zefrath. I don't really think it needs to be run at 3. It is a very good card though, but you have Terraforming, Zefra Providence, and Oracle of Zefra, so I think it's fine at 2. You can't really normal summon it or anything to make electronic, so you have 1, 2, 3, and then 3, and then 3. You have 9 ways of getting to it. So yeah, that's fine. So you have 11 copies of it, basically. And then I'm running 1 Zefraxi, 1 Wendy, 1 Zefraxiton, 1 Zefra 2 Zefra Nunes, 3 Zefra Providence, and 3 Oracle of Zefra, and a Terraform. This is basically just another copy of Oracle of Zefra. So that's the Zefra lineup. I'm running 3 Servant of Endymion, 3 Spell Power Mastery, 1 Mighty Master, and 1 Jackal. For the trap lineup, I'm running War, Divine Strike, and 9 Pillars. So you typically search 9 Pillars off of Denlong. You search Divine Strike off of Zefra Nui, and you search Zefra War. You could also search it off Zefra Nui. Typically, turn 1, you don't search Zefra War, you just search Divine Strike and 9 Pillars, because you don't even have 3 spell slots to put Zefra War down, because your Savage Dragon takes an equipped spot. So, you know, that's fine. And then for the Synchro package, I'm running 1 Destrudo, 1 Mermare, 1 Jet Synchron, and 2 O-Lion. So your Heart and Soul in this deck is Auroradon. You don't need Auroradon. There are other Zefra combos without Auroradon, but if you can't special O-Lion from deck, you're kind of it just kind of sucks. And also drawing O-Lion in your hand and either Pendulum summoning it or normal summoning it isn't that bad. So like, it's not really that bad of a card, honestly. So I don't really mind seeing it, to be completely honest. And then for the DDD package, I'm running 1 Kepler, 1 Dark Contract, 1 DD Lamia. So basically, Kepler, so in my last video I was running 2 Jet Synchron, but Kepler basically, if you draw it, it acts as a Jet Synchron. It acts as a 1-card fiber, and you still have Jet Synchron in deck to special out, so you can end up with Harklight. Because with the Jet Synchron, if you normal Jet Synchron, your Hulk Auroradon combo only ends on 2 interruptions, because you only end on a Savage Dragon and a 9 Pillars. But if you have DD Lamia and end, you have a Auroradon token. But if you have Savant Kepler, you can do 3 interrupts, because your Jet Synchron wouldn't be banished, basically. There are times where you can, if you open Dark Contract, you just have Lamia as an extender. Or Lamia can be 2 cards too. So you can normal summon Lamia. So if you draw Dark Contract, you can normal summon Lamia. Almirage it away, and then special it back by sending a Dark Contract to the graveyard. So a lot of the times that's really good too. So Dark Contract is also a 1-card fiber as well. Lamia is the only card that it kind of sucks to draw by itself, but again, that applies to the same logic as O-Lion. Sometimes you just need a tuner. Mare is really good because when you're going second, a lot of the times you can go Destrudo, Yazi, pop a card, or destroy a card on their field, and then summon your Mare out from deck, and Mare is 1 card, 3 interruptions, basically. So it also goes into the Auroradon combo. It's 3 interruptions and a draw 1. If you want to see it, you can reference one of the Zefra highlights that I have on my channel. And then we're also running a Darkworm package. So we're running 1 Foolish. So Foolish and Shrine basically do the same thing in this deck. Do absolutely the same thing. It's just I'm running 1 Foolish, 1 Shrine, just simply because I don't want to draw multiples where they're dead. So Foolish and Shrine, they both either just send Destrudo or Darkworm. Darkworm is just your extender. You almost need to draw Darkworm. You almost need to draw Darkworm and Servant with 3 spells in order to make Electromite before your normal summon. Before your Pendulum summon. In this deck, you really just don't. So in Zephyrs, you really just special summon like 1 or 2, maybe at most. So you're not really that reliant on your Pendulum summon. It's not like Magicians at all. And the Darkworm also, so Foolish and Shrine also act as pseudo low scales. So you have a bunch of low scales. So you have 1, 2 basically. Or if you need the tuner, you can send Destrudo. But that's the thing. If you can make Electromite in this deck now, you can also make Needle Fiber if you didn't use your normal summon. So that's why the DDD engine is so strong and so paramount, I think. But yeah, and if you need the tuner, you can send Destrudo. So these act as either a low scale, which searches the gate 0, or a tuner. So it's pretty good. So in total, you're running like 1, 2, 3 technically on the normal summon. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 low scales. And I guess 11. These can kind of act as pseudo low scales. So like maybe like 12, because these are like pseudo low scales where you could send this. It kind of sucks when you do, because you need like a different combination of cards. But for the most part, you're running a lot of low scales and you're running a lot of high scales and a lot of ways to get to either or. So it's definitely worth it to give this deck a try. For the extra deck, I'm running 1 Formula Synchron. This card actually doesn't come up that much unless you leave Needle Fiber on the field. If you leave Halka Fibrax on the field, then you can actually use the effect to banish itself and summon this, and then use this to synchro with your Zefra Nui to make Boxia, to shuffle a card on their field back into the deck. But most of the time you're using this with the Mare combo, but it also comes up to summon Boxia with it on your opponent's turn. 1 Herald of the Arclight, you're summoning this card almost every single game. If your combo resolves, you're probably summoning this card. Denglong, summoning this card every single game. Searches a Omni Negate and summons a Yang Zing from the deck. And when you destroy Zefra Nui, it searches a Providence. So it is very, very powerful. Metaphys Horus. This card you don't really summon this card that often, but if they have an unoutable monster, you can use the effect to steal their monster. So a lot of the ways I would do this would be to have a level 3 tuner and a level 3 non-tuner, or like you could do Mare. So if you can go Yazi Mare, you can use Mare to summon this card. So any way to get like a pendulum. Oh, actually no, you can't summon this with Mermaid. So the way you would summon it is a lot of the times you just make Denglong and you keep like either Zefraxi or you keep Ritual Beast, the Zefra Wendy, and you synchro into the Metaphys Horus because you need a pendulum monster to take control of one of their monsters. And so basically what it says is your opponent chooses one monster they control and gives you control of it. So the gives you control of it part means that any card that's unaffected by card effects can still be affected by this card, because you're basically saying your opponent has to give you control of it. So they choose a monster. Because it's their choice, it can be affected by card effects. So all you do is you clear their whole field of all the other monsters, and then you summon this card, and you take control of their unaffected monster. So that's the way to do it. Or you can beat over. But if they have like a 6k Adignister card, you probably don't have any cards in here to out that, so you need to summon your Metaphys Horus. Yazi, this card is really strong because it can summon Mermera, or it can summon any of the other cards to toolbox out. So if you can make like Yazi and you need to make Electromite, you can use Yazi summon Nui and then try to make Electromite that way. Shooting Riser, this card honestly does not come up that much. This card probably could be cut, but it has occasions where like you can send like cards to the graveyard. Like you could send Darkworm to the graveyard and use it as follow-up, and you can modulate this so that you can make Metaphys Horus. So it has like niche applications, but it's honestly, this card isn't summoned that often. But you can summon it on your opponent's turn with Needle Fiber as well and get whatever level. The only level you're not running in this deck is a level 5, which actually does come up kind of often, unfortunately. So I mean, a level 5 Pendulum might be worth it to include, but Boxia. So we're running Boxia in this deck. This card you summon when you can't, when you don't want their cards to go to the graveyard and essentially float. So what float means is when it goes to the graveyard, it does something, like it activates an effect in the graveyard. So if you want a non-destruction removal, Boxia is a good way. Or you could summon it on your opponent's turn and have it act as disruption. Borreload Savage Dragon, you're summoning this every game. So the standard board is Borreload Savage Dragon, Herald of the Arclight, 9 Pillars of the Yangzing, just off Auroradon. If you Pendulum summon Zefra Nui, you can either get Divine Strike or Zefra War, and if you have Servant along with that, you also end on a Jackal King, so the negates just stack. But every single game you're summoning Savage Dragon, Herald of the Arclight, and Denglong. Those are like the 3 critical cards in this deck. 1 Chaofang. So you can summon Chaofang. So if you summon Chaofang with Boxia or Denglong, plus a Zefraxi or a Zefrinu, you can make it so your opponent can't activate light effects and earth effects. But if you just summon it with Boxia, a lot of cards, a lot of decks right now are just light-based decks. So if you could summon this card against a light-based deck, you just win, because they can't activate any of the effects. If you could summon this card with Denglong or Boxia is what I need. So, very, very powerful card. But otherwise, a lot of the times you're just making it because it's a beat stick. Against Eldritch, I make this card a lot just as a beat stick, and when it dies, when it goes to the graveyard and it's destroyed, you can add a tuner. So it combos with 9 Pillars. So if you have 9 Pillars Chaofang, you can make Chaofang, let it get destroyed with Yangzing, 9 Pillars, and then use its effect in the graveyard to search Ash Blossom or Gamma. So I think it's just very strong. It basically acts as 2 interruptions with 9 Pillars. Almirage. I choose to run Almirage over Link Karibo just because most of the time you're normal summoning. You're never really using Link Karibo's effect. Like, you're never really special summoning Jet Synchron and thinking, I want to make Link Karibo with it. A lot of the times you want to just use it as a starter, and the niche cases where you can just tribute this card off to protect the card, or in the very, very niche case where you draw double O-Lion, the Almirage is live. So the double O-Lion can go into Needle Fiber, and then you have the Auroradon token, the Mecha Phantom Beast token on the field with a Almirage, and you have a second O-line. So you use the O-line and the Almirage to summon a Needle Fiber or Halky Fibrax, and then you use Halky Fibrax to special summon the Jet Synchron, and then you can use the Aurorodon token and the Halky Fibrax to make Aurorodon, and then you summon your 3 tokens, and then you can do stuff with the Jet Synchron to synchro basically. So that's one of the cases where Shooting Riser might actually come up, because or the level 5 would actually come up, because you could then use the Jet Synchron and 2 of the Aurorodon tokens to make Shooting Riser, send a level 5 to make it a level 2, and then use that to make Dangalong. But for the most part, you could just end on Arclight or something else, or if you can get into Yazi, that'd be even better if you're going second. So, I think Almirage just has more applications than Linkuriboh. It just comes up. Electromite, you're summoning this probably every game. This is pretty self-explanatory if you're already into pendulums, but basically it lets you search any card from your deck to your extra deck. So any 2 pendulums is the whole combo, because you can search Kepler, and then Kepler specials the Lamia, and then that's Halky Fibrax. Halky Fibrax is also combo. So Halky Fibrax special the tuner, Aurorodon specials the 3 tokens, Apollosa. So a lot of the times you'll have a lot of bloat on the board, and you can just link it off into Apollosa. A lot of the times you just have a lot, like for the times where you pen like 5, you can just consolidate a bunch of stuff into Apollosa and not have to worry about like the extra zones, because you need at least 3 zones to resolve the Aurorodon combo. So you just want to get rid of. So if you can make an Apollosa on top of everything else, why not? Access code. So this is for OTKs and just like clearing cards. Also an out to skill drain. So this card's just like too good not to play. It also out skill drain. A lot of the times, let's say they have skill drain and somehow you don't have Zefra War in hand, you could just consolidate resources and then pen 4, make this, banish itself, and then it'll destroy the skill drain on the field. But yeah, that is the deck profile for Zefra Endymions. Let me know in the comments if anybody has any questions or any explanations, or if they want any combo tutorials, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Tsunami out.